the saint who carried his cross in silence, the hidden strength of Saint Raphael Arnaiz Baron. There are saints whose lives shine like bright torches, and then there are saints whose holiness is quiet, almost invisible. But sometimes, those are the ones who teach us the deepest truths. Tonight, I want to tell you a story, not about a miracle worker, not about a martyr who stood before crowds, not about a visionary who saw the heavens open, but about a young man, only 27 years old, who found God in silence, suffering, and surrender. A man whose life whispers to us today, holiness is not noise, holiness is love. This is the story of Saint Raphael Arnaiz Baron, the Trappist saint of hidden surrender. Raphael was born in Spain in 1911, cheerful, witty, artistic, deeply intelligent. He drew beautifully, painted landscapes, laughed loudly with friends. By all standards, he had every reason to follow a bright future: architecture, art, friendships, a promising career. But at the age of 22, something unexpected happened. He visited a Trappist monastery, San Isidro de Dueñas, where silence held everything together like a sacred thread. And in that silence, Raphael felt something he had never felt before. Not excitement, not passion, not fear, but a deep, overwhelming sense of home, as if God whispered gently into the core of his soul, "Stay with me." He entered the monastery joyfully. He thought his path would be simple: prayer, work, silence, and peace. But holiness, real holiness, rarely grows in comfort. Just months after joining, Raphael collapsed with unbearable pain. Doctors diagnosed him with severe diabetes, rare and dangerous at that time. He had to leave the monastery immediately. Imagine the heartbreak. The place he loved, the silence he cherished, the life he believed God wanted for him, all slipped away overnight. He returned home, devastated yet calm. "God knows what he is doing," he whispered. But his real journey had only begun. His cross, returning, leaving, returning again. The monks allowed Raphael to return, but not fully. He wasn't permitted to take vows because of his illness. He wasn't a monk, just a guest, a simple oblate, living on the margins. And yet, Raphael accepted it all with serene humility. When his health worsened, he was sent home again, then improved, came back, then sick again, sent home once more. 3 times he entered the monastery, 3 times he was removed, but he never once said, "This is unfair. Why is God doing this to me? Why can't I live the life I desire?" Instead, he said softly, "God writes straight with crooked lines. If he wants me sick, I am happy to be sick. If he wants me forgotten, I am happy to be forgotten. If he wants me to suffer, then suffering is sweet." These words did not come from weakness. They came from a heart that had surrendered completely. The final return. And his last winter. In 1938, the monastery allowed Raphael to return one last time. He could barely walk. His body was weak, thin, pale. He could not participate in long prayers, could not work in the fields, could not fast like the other monks. Instead, he embraced the smallest, simplest tasks: cleaning tools, folding clothes, sweeping floors, smiling quietly at the brothers who passed by. This was holiness in its purest form, the holiness of little things done with great love. As his diabetes worsened, Raphael spent long hours in the infirmary. One brother later recalled, "He spoke little, he smiled always, and he suffered greatly, without ever complaining." In April 1938, at just 27 years old, Raphael felt his strength fading. He asked for the Eucharist, whispered a final prayer, and slipped gently into the arms of the God he had loved so quietly. He never preached a sermon, never worked a miracle, never held a leadership role. He simply loved, humbly, silently, faithfully. And today, he is Saint Raphael Arnaiz Baron, canonized in 2009, patron of the sick, the discouraged, and anyone who feels their life doesn't shine enough. Raphael teaches us a truth many people forget. You don't need a platform, or a spotlight, or impressive achievements to be holy. Holiness grows in the quiet places. When you forgive someone who doesn't apologize, when you show kindness that no one sees, when you offer your pain for someone else, when you pray even when God feels silent, when you keep going, even when the road is heavy. Raphael's life is a reminder that suffering is not punishment. Sometimes it is the most sacred classroom, and surrender is not defeat. Sometimes it is the door to peace. He teaches us that God does not love us for what we accomplish. He loves us for the love we give, the surrender we offer, the humility we choose. The world celebrates loud heroes. Heaven celebrates silent ones. So tonight, as you hear Raphael's story, let me ask you a gentle question. Where is God quietly calling you to surrender? A fear? A disappointment? A relationship? A wound from the past? A plan that didn't unfold? Maybe holiness for you is not some grand mission. Maybe it is the quiet, hidden yes you give God in the middle of your ordinary life. Raphael's life whispers to us, God is enough, and if God is enough, nothing else is missing. May tonight's reflection remind you, your hidden sacrifices matter, your quiet efforts matter, your secret struggles matter, your whispered prayers matter. Heaven sees everything, and one day, you will understand how every tear, every surrender, every burden carried in love, built a crown you could not yet see. Tonight, let Raphael guide you into a deeper peace, a peace that does not depend on answers, but on trust. Let us walk into tomorrow with calmer hearts and a quieter, deeper faith. Amen.